y'all. Hey, 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 y'all. Can y'all hear now? Welcome back. Welcome back. We are in a new week. I am so excited. Hey, y'all. Happy Wednesday. We are back. We are back. We are. I know I missed last week, but nonetheless, here we are. And plot twist, y'all. Y'all got me for this episode. So you're going to spend some time. We're going to talk about something exciting that I am here to share with you all. We got Father's Day coming up. So I just thought that this episode would be really special to pay homage to our fathers that we're going to pay tribute to, that we're going to love on. And, we're going to remember for those like myself that have lost their dad. So tonight's episode is definitely going to be one for the books. I would think so. Um, Nonetheless, welcome back. Hey, y'all out there. Hey, podcast, Ladies Lounge podcast family. Um, if you are new here, welcome. If you're returning, hey, y'all. In the Ladies Lounge, this is where we keep it real, we keep it cute, and definitely cover everything in between. So today, we are going to dive in to a topic that is close to many hearts. We're going to talk about the daddy's girl effect, how a father's love shapes us as little girls, as young women, as older, seasoned adults. So we're going to tap in. So whether you grew up wrapped in your dad's protective arms or just navigating the complexities of that relationship now, there's no denying the powerful impact a father's love has on a daughter's life. So from building confidence, shaping self-worth, to influencing how we connect in relationships, being a daddy's girl is more than just a nickname. It's a lifelong journey. So we're going to talk about that a little deeper. So grab your favorite drink. You already know. Get comfy. Let's explore the beautiful and sometimes messy, but always meaningful ways fatherly love leaves its mark on us. So, as always, here in the Ladies Lounge, we just have some house rules. Just ask that you are respectful, ask questions, engage, like talk to your girl. But most importantly, have fun. Y'all know how it go down in the Ladies Lounge. But so tonight, the daddy's girl. So I shared with you all, I lost my dad back in 2020, March of 2020. I am a daddy's girl. I'm a proud daddy's girl though. Like, it's just one story that I just have to share that it tickled me pink when my mom and grandma shared it with me, just to let y'all know the type of daddy's girl that I am. I don't know the age. I won't say the age because I don't know it. I'm just going here to tell y'all I don't know the age because my mom's gonna be like, ma'am, that's some misinformation you got going on. However, um, so the younger Brit, little girl, I was at my grandma's house with my dad, and I had these box of raisins that my dad was like, "Don't drop those raisins on the floor." But what does little Brittany do? She stands there and pours over the bottle of raisins, and he's fussing like, "You better pick up those raisins." And I'm just looking at him, apparently, like not knowing what he talking about, or and definitely not going to pick up those raisins. And he's just fussing, but as he's fussing, he is picking up those raisins. And I laughed so hard on that story because that definitely set the tone of my dad and I relationship throughout my 32 years of life at the time before he passed. So my dad has always been that dad that's gonna fuss, but as he's fussing, he is doing exactly what he said that he's not gonna do. So that's the type of daddy girl that I am. But being a daddy's girl, means so much more. It means having that special close bond with your father that shapes how you see yourself and how also the world sees you. It's about feeling loved, supported, and valued by your dad in a way that impacts your confidence, sense of security, and how you navigate your relationship. So, that daddy's girl is more than just a cute nickname. It often reflects a foundation of trust and protection. So knowing your dad is someone you can count on, right? That consistency of having that male figure in your life to just show up. Emotional connections, like sharing moments of joy, guidance, sometimes that tough love, like our moms, they give us tough love, but it's nothing like that dad's tough love, and just the sternness that comes with it. And also that role model relationship. So where dad's words and actions help teach those important lessons and the influence on identity. So your father's love can shape your self-worth, how you set boundaries, and what you can expect from others. Now, at its core, being a daddy's girl, it's about the unique, meaningful influence a father has on a daughter's life, one that often stays with her throughout adulthood. So, like, oftentimes, let's talk about why a father's love is important and how it's influential and powerful and how it's just unique, how it's all of these things. So, a father loves carries a distinct strength and stability that shapes a daughter's sense of identity, the confidence and emotional security in a unique way. So while mothers, again, we're that nurturers through that emotional intimacy, a father's love brings that balance of protection. Like I just knew when I was with my dad, I didn't have to worry about nothing, even up until just up until the day that he transitioned. It was just still watching him, even on his deathbed, just still having that sense of protection, although he was weak, but it was just like, man, this is my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my daddy in the bed. And I know nothing's going to happen to me, but, while he's over there, just transitioning through life. So that father loves brings that protection. It brings the guidance and affirmations. It's oftentimes like that voice that you hear that says, you are enough, you're strong, you are worthy. And just some of the influence of why that is so powerful. Like a father's help defines self worth. So when a girl hears that encouragement, especially the respect and love from her father, she begins to believe that she's capable of anything, right? So I used I used to always believe like everything that my dad said growing up. If my dad told me I was going to be the next president, I just knew that I was going to be the next president of the world, of the United States, because my daddy said so. They also fathers set the tone for the future relationships. When we're transitioning from that little girl to this young adult and now going into the dating life. So a present loving father teaches us how to love, what love should look like, also what it should feel like, how I should be treated, respected, and valued. Fathers often model the strength of stability. So whether that's through provision, um, presence, or support, dads often show that it means to just stand tall and face life challenges. So also to affirm the identity in just like a subtle but lasting way, a dad's belief in his daughter gives her permission to believe in herself. Sometimes before she even knows how to believe in herself. Again, my dad was like, you can definitely do it. I knew for sure that I could do it. Right. And it's not to say that my mom wasn't giving me that same type of love, like to say that you have the confidence, but it was just something about like my dad would put a stamp on it. Like that was just it. I just knew I could do anything because my daddy said so, but also too knowing that my mom did too. But we here to talk about fathers tonight. But ultimately, the influence of a father isn't just about what he does. It's about how his presence or absence echoes through a daughter's emotional development, decisions, and relationships for years to come. So let's talk a little deeper about the daddy's girl effect. And oftentimes we don't even know that there is an effect for this title. So we just throw around the word and don't even really know that what the effects can that it has on us. And it could be emotional, psychological, and social. So the daddy's girl effect is more than just being close to your father. It actually goes deep. So when we talk about the emotional bond, the sense of security that forms when a daughter grows up, feeling seen, valued, and definitely loved by her dad. So emotionally, that the daddy's girl effect, oh gosh, emotionally it creates that foundation. Like I said earlier, just the safety and the love. When that dad affirms his daughter with affection, oh goodness, with the encouragement, his presence, then she often grows up with a stronger sense of emotional confidence. She's more likely to believe in her self-worth and navigate through life with assurance. Again, because my daddy said so, I could do it. My daddy bought me flowers, so I know I'm expecting my man to buy me flowers, or I'm looking for this type of man because of how I am treated or was treated by my father. So that emotional impact is definitely important. The psychological impact or effect for the daddy's girl, it can help shape how women view herself. It builds that inner confidence, like just the trust in others, the emotional resilience. So, like girls who grew up with engaged, supportive fathers, keyword, engaged, supportive fathers. You can have a father in your household, but if he really doesn't have that impact, then you see where I'm going with this? Right. So that supportive father often develop a healthy boundaries and higher self-esteem. So it's just it's a difference. It's a difference when you just don't, when you just have that male presence and he's just not making an impact. It's just like taking attendance. Okay, he's here, but what are you doing? And sometimes, oftentimes I even look back just on my relationship, and sometimes I used to just see my dad sitting there. We really, like, my dad wasn't the type that took me out. Like, we didn't, growing up, I didn't have the father daughter dances, what they're doing now, or like he wasn't the type to go walk the malls. That wasn't my dad. We didn't go sit down. We didn't have dinner. But what we did do was we took family trips. We would go to Georgia each year. At the time when my grandma was living, the whole family would get together, and we even kept it up as long as we could after my grandmother transitioned. My dad was the go-to house for the pool parties and everything. What I started realizing, especially as I got older, was that he was the glue that kept the family together. So oftentimes when we are like in the household with our parents, we only see it from our perspective of like just how mature we are at that time, but it really doesn't make sense until we get older and we get out here in the world and we're like, dang, now I understand it a little bit better because I have a different set of eyes on. Hopefully that makes sense. But on the flip side, an absent or strained relationship with a father can cause struggles with the self-esteem, with the abandonment issues, or people pleasing tendencies. So I'm quite sure, again, I grew up with my dad, and I don't know what it's like to not have my father around. I mean, now I do because he transitioned, but for 32 years of my life, I've always had my dad. So I know people who didn't grow up with having that male role model in their lives. And I do understand that it was some challenges that they had to go through and some opportunities, that they had to face without having that male figure to just go through life, to ask certain questions and to be taught certain lessons. And the daddy girl effect also affects us socially. Now, this effect influences how daughters interact with the world, especially in relationships. So, whether romantic, whether professional, platonic, that early fatherly connection can impact the standards she sets on for herself and what she expects on how she is to be treated. A loving father figure teaches her not only to love how she looks, but also how she feels, like what it feels to be honored, respected, and protected. Okay. Because how many of us as women, like, for real, when we look for a man, we are often looking for certain things. Like, you're not, I think the best thing I heard was like to not look for your father in a man, but there's still some key morals and values that you still look for in a man that would remind you of your father if you grew up with that father figure, because it just you're naturally drawn to it, like when you talk about the protection and the safety and especially the respect, especially if you was given that from your father. So that is a thing, ladies, that we do look for that in our partner. We want that. Ultimately, the daddy's girl effect reminds us that a father's role is irreplaceable, and his love has lasting ripple effect on how we grow, love, and we just lead. Like, facts are facts. We keep it real here in the ladies' lounge. So let's talk about like how a father's love shapes the self-esteem, confidence, and the identity of us. So a father's love is often a child's first encounter with validation, with worth. When a dad is present, affirming, and emotionally supportive, his daughter begins to internalize a powerful message, like that affirmation: I matter, I am enough, I am love. That becomes our blueprint when we have that positive father figure in our lives. It boosts our self-esteem. So when your father tells you that you are beautiful, that you are smart, that you are capable, let me tell y'all something. Y'all would have been sick of me today if my daddy was still around, because, and especially like with the affirmations and things of that nature, and he just did it in his own way, right? So he would compliment me the best way he knew how. And but he always like showed up, and he always would compliment me to like everybody else. My daddy would always tell me how proud of me he is. And that matters. Like, you just walk differently. You just know that you are capable. Like, I am doing something that my daddy is proud of. And it just, I don't know. I just want everybody to, I pray that everybody can experience that, because it does make a difference. So having him, um, having him not around now, it's like I have to do some deep reassuring, because I don't have it, but I do get to, like, hear it sometimes, if that makes sense. Just having that father figure just boosts the confidence, right? So it's just the encouragement that can be pushed that help daughters take that risk, right? Let me tell you something. You couldn't tell me, like, I would just do certain things that I look back on now, and I'm like, my daddy taught me how to fish. My daddy taught me like just how to survive on certain things. And it was just like, these are things that I still carry with me to this day. I'm young, and he taking me out back my grandma's house, and we out here with the firearms, just throwing rounds, like at the cans in the backyard. And it's just stuff like that I just hold on to now, because it just really made me, like, it just built that confidence of, not that I don't want a man or need a man, because I do, but it's just also like, but I still could do this. Like, I got this because my daddy taught me how to do certain things. Um, so whether it's showing up for recitals, cheering her on in sports, telling her she can be anything she wants, that constant belief builds internal confidence that says, I can do this. It's just, I don't know. It's just something different about your daddy just being there. And I'll share this story a little later. A strong father-daughter bond also helps shape the identity by creating a safe space to explore, question, and grow. So more than likely, this girl, she's less likely to seek approval from the wrong places because her foundation is already rooted in love. Now, I've oftentimes heard growing up that I am very spoiled. And I don't even like that terminology for me. I often think of it as I am just loved. My daddy loved me and he loved me a certain type of way. And so the way that he loved me, like, just gave me that sense of, like, I don't care what nobody have to say. I'm gonna go tell my daddy. I'm going over here to my daddy. A hurricane come, I'm going to my daddy house. I'll make sure my mom is straight. I'm gonna go over here with my daddy. Like, so the confidence and just the relationship, and again that protection, it was always my daddy, my daddy, my daddy. That was just all I knew all my life. So a healthy father figure teaches her how to be herself fully, boldly, and unapologetically. And I probably didn't come from a space of like being a nice girl either, because my daddy gonna do it. I don't need you, my daddy gonna do it. Like, so but that's on the person. That's not, it was because I knew my daddy had my back. I ain't had no time for nobody else because daddy was just gonna show up, like, regardless. So while the men was doing what you want to do, don't worry, because my daddy got me. That was like seeing my dad and having the type of dad that I had around. That was the type of confidence that I had. I wasn't trying to come off like arrogant or anything, but I was just like, listen, my daddy gonna do it. I don't need you. Like, what are we talking about? Probably not a good mindset to have, but we thank God for growth. So let's talk about like the lessons learned from dads of just the respect, love, and boundaries, and just that resilience. So when you grow up as a daddy's girl, you don't just inherit affection, you inherit wisdom. So like the kind of lessons that stick with you through life, the twists and the turns. Um, like it was just certain stuff I would watch my dad, like just him be a part of, like as a firefighter, and him being the treasurer and things like that, and going to conferences with him, just for him to walk in the room and the respect that he received from people. I was just like, wow, that's pretty dope, you know? So that's one thing that dads do teach you. They teach you the integrity. They teach you the respect, even if it's from opening doors, just listening when you speak, honoring your feelings. That consistent respect sets a standard. You learn not to settle for being disrespected. Hello, because my daddy ain't disrespect me, so I ain't gonna tolerate that from you. So you learn not to be disrespected because you've already seen how it feels to be valued. A father also, that love, like you learn to love differently from your dad. As the daddy's girl, you learn that real love isn't about grand gestures. It's an everyday presence, the quiet protection, the steady support. You start to understand that love is shown and just not said. It's in the consistency, the commitment, and the care. I had to learn this early on. Well, no, later on in my life, like probably after I had my son and I seen how my dad loved my son, I had to learn that my dad loved the best way that he knew how. And I know that my dad loved me. It I used to look back and be like, well, why are we gonna do this? Why are we gonna go to the mall and stuff like that? But that's not the type of man that he was. My dad, on Fridays, you knew you could come to the house and you was gonna have you some fried fish and potatoes. A Saturday, we gonna have a pool party. And on a holiday, you may catch the family over at the house for like Thanksgiving or Christmas because we gonna have dinner. And so I'm just like honored to know that I was taught the value of being family oriented more so than anything. So a dad's love also teach you boundaries. Like a good father, sets boundaries and also honors yours. He shows you how that it's okay to say no, to have standards, and to expect others to respect your space, hold your values. The foundation helps you grow into a woman who's not afraid to protect her peace. So we often, ladies, have to know the difference with that, because we don't want to walk around here with that mindset of like, I don't need you. My daddy did this and my daddy did this. Why you can't do this? Like, because that's not your daddy. Your daddy did it how your daddy did it, and that man gonna do it how he do it. But you still gonna love him. But just don't expect certain things from this man that your daddy would do. Like, that's just unfair. Certain things. Now I ain't say everything. Certain things, but and your father also teaches you the resilience. Maybe the greatest lesson of all is how to keep going when life gets hard. Man, that is something that I often sit back and I reflect on, because my dad also he wasn't a man that complained. I never heard my dad complain that he was sick. I never heard my dad complain like just about life. Now, he gonna complain about some money being spent that he didn't want to, spend it on. Um, he was gonna fuss. Oh God, y'all, he fussed at me. He, he was gonna fuss at me. But when we talk about overall just complaining about showing up, I never heard him complain. Even until he transitioned, he never complained. Like, I would just never forget being in the hospital and hearing his friends come in and was like, his nickname back then was Hank. Like, so Hank, man, the doctor said if you get better, and you can eat and build up your energy, then you can start chemo or radiation and stuff. And when I heard my dad say no, because he's tired, I knew then that, he was tired. That was the first and last time I've ever heard him complain. And of course, I mean, rightfully so at that time, right? For him to complain, but even just not even telling us that he was sick, like just even that resilience, I had to understand and go through my own journey of like, man, I don't know what that feels like because I'm still here, but I often know what it feels like to just go through life and you don't complain to your family, you just do it. However, with June being Men's Mental Health Month, I do encourage men to speak up. I do encourage men to not keep everything bottled in, because that doesn't make you strong. If you want, I mean, and it's just my opinion. And when I say speak up, even if you don't want to tell your family what's going on, you can seek help from a therapist. If you have a close knit brother, mentor, like, talk to somebody, but just don't keep it bottled in, because let's get rid of that saying, like, oh, a man ain't supposed to see you cry. Like, that's baloney, because you're human. I ain't saying that you got to be out here like just crying all willy-nilly or whatever, but it's okay to say that, you need to talk, or whatever it is that you're feeling. Just have the conversation and not keep that bottled in. However, anyways, but we're talking about the resilience. And so dads often lead by example, showing how to bounce back from failure after it's hard to carry. Like, you don't even see them. You don't see men really, like, I don't, outside of my dad, like, because we're talking about just all men, right? I don't see my brother complain. I don't see my uncles. I have male figures in my life. I don't see these men complain. They just get up and they just do. And I just think that if I could just take a moment and say, if you haven't, ladies, if you haven't even thought to buy this man a gift for Father's Day that's coming up, I think you need to think twice. I'm gonna be honest, just keep it real here in the ladies' lounge. Like, that movie just came out about straw, and I'm not a fan to have watched it. Just my personal opinion, because I just think that it's just too much for me. However, it's a movie overall about a single mother and her struggles. Essentially, that's what it's about. And we oftentimes don't even point out or shine a light on men that's actually out here doing the work, actually showing up for their family, actually showing up, for themselves first and foremost. So I think that we need to change the narrative. And I think that we, just like how we want this man to go out for us for Mother's Day and for our birthdays, I think that we need to do the same for a lot of these men, because there are good men out here that are doing what they have to do. Okay. So that's just my whole little spill on it, because I could make that a whole topic of how we overlook men, the men that's out here doing it, the men that's out here showing up. You got men that's showing up for your kids that ain't theirs. Like, come on, and y'all won't even go buy them a card. That's crazy to me. However, again, that's another topic for another day. We have to do better. But when a father is present, back to our regular scheduled programming, y'all. We keep it real here in the ladies' lounge. But anywho, back to our regular scheduled programming. So let's talk about the presence of a father and the absence of a father. When a father is present, his love becomes a mirror, right? So we talked about that, like how your daddy loved you is also how you're going to show that love, right? You're gonna mock what you see, and then also you want it in return. So it's just like this whole mirror effect that takes place. So a daughter often sees herself through her father's eyes. When he's present, supportive, and emotionally available, she learns to believe in herself. She walks taller. We spoke about that. She speaks with more confidence because my daddy said so. That's the confidence. And she carries inner security that says the affirmations of I am loved, I am safe, and I am enough. Fellas, your presence can teach your daughter how a man should treat her, how to trust her, for her to trust without fear, and how to value herself beyond the physical appearance. I often hear a lot of men talk about how women dress nowadays, and a lot of women don't receive that at all, because it's like, who are you to tell me how to dress? And why are you da da da? And oftentimes it's because that woman hasn't grown up in a household with a male to help guide her on her physical appearance. And I just thank God, because I was always raised that you just show a man enough for him to want some more. Like, not to be out here with the girls out, with everything out, and then that man now has probably did some things to you in his head, and then you over here like, well, all he want to do is he just want this from me. Wonder why, ma'am? But just remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being there. Showing up matters more than showing off. Now, let's talk about the absence of a father. That has a major impact. The absence of a father creates a void. And oftentimes, us as women, we look for this void. Isn't it a song that says looking for love in all the wrong places? Is that a song? That's oftentimes what happens when we as women are trying to fill that void of the absent father. And some of it may result in seeking validations in unhealthy relationships, struggling with that trust and abandonment, and the self-worth, becoming overly independent. Like, I got it, I could do this, I can change my tire, hang up my own TV, just all of that. Ultimately, it's just you being afraid to rely on somebody else because of the absence of your father. You didn't grow up with that male figure in your household. So, and this is not to say that because you didn't have that male figure that you can't do it. I'm not saying that, but oftentimes this is what it relates to. But the truth is, whether a father shows up or not, his presence or absence become a teacher. It teaches a girl how to love, how to protect her peace, how to heal, how to grow. And for those who lack the connection, there is still hope. Like, y'all, it's still hope. You have mentors, you have healthy relationships. Doing that inner work, healing is possible. And it is rewriting the narrative. Now, I want to hear from you. If you are watching this live, if you're watching it rebroadcast, if you're comfortable, like just share with us, like, how has your father's presence or absence shaped who you are today? Have you even thought about it? And if you don't feel comfortable with sharing it, use it as a journal prompt, because we it's time that we need to start unpacking, and sometimes unpacking and understanding, that we are holding on to certain things can help us move forward, in building those healthy relationships. So, and talking about the healthy relationships, so I mentioned that these our father's relationships, it does influence our romantic relationships, like later on in life. So that first man that a girl gets is often like her dad. This is facts, okay? And that relationship often becomes a blueprint of how the woman gives and receives love. That's something that we talked about. So when a father is so loving and he is so affirming and he is just planting these seeds of self-worth and expectations, his actions, how he listens, how he respects, supports, protects, often sets the tone of what the daughter will accept later on. Now, again, we keep it real here in the ladies lounge. I wish that was something that I actually learned from my dad. Like, my dad taught me certain things, but when it came to relationships, he really didn't. I didn't have that father that sat down with me and told me how, like a woman is supposed to be treated. I just knew like certain things, I just wasn't going to tolerate. Like, I changed my own tire, so like, why are you not getting up here and changing the tire for me? Or like, I can do these things of hanging up pictures and a TV and all of these things. But then I was trying to often understand, like, well, why was I failing in relationships? Well, it was because I was walking around like, I don't need a man because I could do this. And it was just oftentimes I would sit back and I'm like, but why are my relationships failing? Because it can't always be on the other person. I have to take accountability. So y'all, like, actually, your girl went to therapy. And I was like, we got to do some work, right? Because people throw around this self-healing as a hashtag, but it really requires work. And so when I sat there and I thought things over, okay, and I was just like, wow, like, you was really walking around here some type of way, and but what examples did you really have? What was you really shown? And from the examples I was really shown, I took something completely different from it because, again, I was young, I was immature, I was naive. So things that I took, I didn't even understand what I was taking, and probably flipping and doing everything in reverse, right? And then just created that person at the time. And I was like, nah, that's not okay. We can't do that. We gotta dial back. And you have to understand that your dad showed you what he showed you at that time because that's all he knew. So now you have to rewrite your narrative of what you want this to look like going forward. Hopefully that makes sense and it can it can help someone. But you're you dads, you teach your daughters how to love. You teach them what to look for. You teach them, like, especially if you have a significant other in the household with you, like, she's watching. These kids watch us. So we mimic what we see. So dads, this whole episode is for you, but especially just learning how to, understanding that these your daughters are watching you and they are going to go out and they're going to mimic everything that they see. And that's so important because I know y'all don't play about y'all girls because I don't play about my son, right? So we have to be mindful as adults that we set the tone, we set the narrative, and they are watching from their mindset. Like I just said, it's stuff that I saw in my dad's, walk up and journey through life that I took with me, but I didn't understand. what he was doing and why he was doing it. I just knew that I'm gonna move how I need to move. So, but then it look what it turned out, how it turned out for me. Like relationships was failing left and right, and I just became this other person because I was like, I'm not gonna move like that or whatever the case may be. So dads, definitely be mindful. I mean, both parties should, but of course tonight's episode is about fathers, but just be mindful, right? We often say, oh, ain't a lot of good men out here, ain't a lot of good women, but we the one that raise them. So that's something, chew on that for a little bit. I don't want to give you give you too much, but just the positive fatherly love can lead to higher standards in a relationship. Because she already felt what it means to be loved unconditionally. She doesn't settle for that bare minimum love. Like, I know how a man is supposed to treat a woman because I saw my dad do ABC and 1, 2, 3. Okay. Um, she learns how to set those healthy boundaries. A father who respects his daughter teaches her to demand the same respect for others and the confidence and love. She's more likely to enter relationships without that fear of abandonment because she grew up feeling emotionally secure. It is less work that has to be done later on the back end if you are loving your daughter correctly from the beginning. Okay. I'm just say that, do with it what you what you want. But when fatherly love is absent or damaged, some women may seek love from wounded places, craving attention or that validation to fill that void. Others may build emotional walls, afraid to trust, rely on anyone. Some may even become overly independent, equating to vulnerability weakness because they had to raise themselves emotionally. That is just going deeper into there's going to be work that has to be done on the back end, dads, if you don't take care of the front line. Okay. But the beautiful thing of it all is being aware. Awareness is healing. When a woman recognizes how her father shaped her views on love, she can rebuild those beliefs, set new standards, and choose love from a healed place. Like, how easy would it be, men, like you're out here dating now, like my older men, and you're dating, how easy would it be to just love a woman who is healing, ing, because we're not healed, ed. Nobody's healed. And if you think that you healed, you got to go back and do some work. We're healing. It's a journey. It's not a destination. Okay. So, like, how easy would it be? How many of y'all would really want a woman who is doing the work? You ain't got to answer it now, but answer it later on so you know for yourself. But talking about the trust and setting standards and expectations based on that early father-daughter relationship. So the early father-daughter relationships, it often becomes the silent teacher behind how we trust, what we expect from others, just the standard relationship. So again, oftentimes when my daddy always shown up for me, I have that same expectation for men. Like, I went out here in the world and think that all men are just gonna show up for you because my daddy showed up for me. Well, I had a taste of reality, and let's just say that didn't go well. My reaction, because I didn't know what to do. Because I was like, I thought all men show up like this, which, because my daddy showed up like it. But it was definitely a harsh reality. And let me tell you something, it was my first and last reality lesson that I had in that area. But definitely, if a father is consistent, showing up, keeping promises, and just being emotionally available, a daughter is more likely to grow up with that natural sense of trust. She learned love doesn't have to be earned through performance. Vulnerability is safe, and real love is dependable, not predictable. But trust is often broken. I just said that to y'all, right? Through neglect, absence, and the emotional distance. So she may become guarded. Now we suspicious. I'm looking at you side-eyed and stuff, and or just overly just like self-reliant. So trust becomes something to survive, not something to build. Listen, those standards, a father often teaches his daughter what's acceptable and what's not just with words, but with how he treats her, how he carries himself. If he honors her boundaries, she grows up knowing she's worthy of respect. There are certain things that she don't have to tolerate. If he encourages her to speak up, she learns her voice matters. She don't have to do all of that yelling and all that rah-rah stuff because I know my voice matters and I can still get my point across and talk to you as an adult. I don't have to belittle you to say what I need to say. Even it doesn't even matter depending on, like just the extent of the of the matter. I still know how to react. I still know how to speak to a man, right? If he shows her consistency and kindness, she won't expect chaos in her adult relationship. I'm going to say that one more time. That if you show your daughter consistency and kindness, she won't accept the chaos in the adult relationship. She won't accept the chaos, nor will she be the chaos. Okay? Her standards are not based on a fantasy. They're rooted in familiarity. I had to say it slow because y'all ain't that word. That word was going to take me out. And also the expectations from what we've experienced, not just what we desire. A daughter who receives intentional love will accept clear communication because you can talk to me as an adult. I do not respond very well if you yelling, if you calling me out my name, you being disrespectful. Like you're not gonna get the response from me that you are looking for because I didn't grow up like that. So I do not respond well to it. And I will tell any man who comes into my life, I don't respond to chaos. I don't bring it and I don't respond to it. The emotional safety. Whew, just that word in itself, like I'm gonna just let y'all ponder on that. The partnership, not performance. The partnership, not performance. On the other hand, if she only saw love was distant, conditional, or controlling, her expectations might start low. She might normalize emotional neglect, thinking that's just how men are. No, that's not. But how would she know if she didn't have that positive male father figure in her life? But the truth is, those early experiences don't have to define you forever. With healing, awareness, and growth, a woman can relearn trust. She can reset her standards and raise her expectations to align with her worth, even if her father couldn't model it. So, to my ladies out there who didn't grow up with that father figure in your life, you can do the work. You can rewrite the narrative. And there's also so like I don't want y'all to be thinking like this daddy with the daddy's girl effect. Like just because I say I'm a daddy's girl, don't get it twisted. Now, me and my daddy, we done had some complications, some strains. You know, it's just that daddy's girl story is just not wrapped in easy love or perfect moments. Sometimes that relationship, it is complicated, it's strained or even painful, and that reality deserves to be acknowledged with honesty and grace. um, so the impact of that struggle, a difficult father-daughter relationship can create feelings of confusion, rejection, or that longing. So when a father is absent emotionally or physically, it can leave that daughter feeling unseen or unworthy. When there's conflict or misunderstanding or an unmet expectation, it can strain her ability to trust the form of unhealthy connections. And sometimes unresolved wounds can create a cycle of hurt that carries throughout the adulthood. So when I found out I was adopted, my dad did not want to tell me that I was adopted. And for the life of me, I didn't understand it. Like, why would you want to lie to me? Like you're my daddy. Why you want to lie to me? Why you want to hurt me by lying? This was my mindset at the time when I was younger. And so as I got older and I continued to see how this man loved me, how this man showed up for me, how this man loved my son, and just their relationship, for me, that was just everything that I needed, and to understand that at all costs, you are going to want to protect your child, right? Everybody's different. Everybody, you have some people who want to tell the truth, and you have some people who are just like, I don't think they need to hear that, not because they don't want to tell you the truth, but I don't want to see you hurt. And I don't want to see you hurt like that because there's nothing I could do about it. But I mean, obviously, continue to love and care for you and show up and support you. But I don't know how to I don't know how to be successful in that area. And this is how I looked at it as I got older, which did help me to build back my relationship with my dad, because I did stop speaking to him, knowing that he didn't want to tell me the truth. And it was just like, once I realized, like, nah, like I get it. Like, nah, I'm gonna talk back to my daddy. Like, and we, you know, we had a really, really good relationship after that. Tell y'all, he used to fuss at me, and I'm laughing because I have like voicemails that I still go back from time to time and listen to, where he just called me and he'll fuss, and those that are watching, my sister and my mom would know why he would fuss at me, but I just laugh now at it. And I'm like, now I wish I could get those phone calls, but I probably would do better, y'all. But, um, but those complicated relationships, there's always room for healing. Like, I don't want people to just think that we always have to sit in that struggle. Like, it's always like the relationship is always complicated. No, but there's always a positive outcome. There's always healing that can be done. So just recognizing the pain is the first step, and understanding how the story was shaped. So remember, I said to you all, I started to understand how my father grew up, how he was loved, and just everything else with his story. Once I started understanding that, then I can love him properly, and also set the expectation bar a little lower. So oftentimes we do have this expectation of even our own parents, and we don't give them the grace that they are human, which also plays a role in your relationship as well with your parents. So something to think about. Understand that you can grow from and heal from the complicated or strained relationships. Just also set boundaries and seek support. We have a community. That's why oftentimes I bring guests on, so you all know that we have resources within our own community to help us get to that next level. And some daughters find strength in forgiving their fathers. I forgave my father a long time ago with just certain things, like I just shared with y'all with the whole adoption and not wanting to tell me I forgave him. So then now because look, I didn't know that he would be transitioning as early as he did. And I thank God that I did forgive him, because it also helped with that. I can't imagine if I was still holding on to that hurt, and he done like Henry G done transition. Like, I would be devastated. Cause then, as you get mature, and then it's like the shoulda, coulda, wouldas and all this other stuff. Kill it at the door. Learn how to forgive, not for your father's sake, but for your sake. So that way you can move on. And then now you can create healthy relationships with your partner, and also these sons that we are raising for the next generation to come. And I talked about rewriting the narrative. So your father's love, or the lack of it, does not have to define your worth of your future relationships. You can rebuild your own foundation of love and trust. You can become your own source of affirming and healing, and you can break those cycles. Okay? You are capable of breaking the cycle. And not every girl grows up with a present or positive biological father. And that doesn't mean that the lessons, love, and guidance have to be missing from her life. Ladies, sometimes we learn a lot even just from our relationships with our partners. This is why having a positive male role model, it does matter. So to my fellas, Positive male figures, whether uncles, grandfathers, coaches, mentors, teachers, family friends, or your intimate relationships, can fill vital roles in a girl's emotional and social development. Because you are that positive male role model in her life, and it does matter. It really does matter. The gift of the chosen family and mentorship, sometimes the strongest father figures are the ones we choose and also choose us. These men step up, they invest time, become anchors of stability and love, and can influence and shape a girl's sense of security and the impact of her relationship. So again, ladies, you can learn even from your relationship. I mean, this also another topic for another day. You just gotta let that man be what he needs to be, and you have to learn from him and go to therapy. Some of y'all do need to go to therapy now, like, because you do have the positive male role models who trying, and then you over here. Oh Lord, that's another topic, y'all. But the importance of having this positive male role model teaches us girls how to trust men, set those boundaries, recognize healthy love, building a foundation, and support thriving adult relationships. Overall, a girl's story is unique. So while a biological father's love is powerful, the presence of any caring, respectful, and consistent man can make a lasting difference. Sometimes we have to stop and we have to learn our partners, because the foundation matters. Did your partner grow up with her dad in her life? And if she didn't have a dad in her life or in the household, but what about positive male role models like those uncles, brothers, grandfathers, cousins? Are you, as her significant other, are you that positive male role model for her? So these are things that men that you do need to learn your partner on. And also too, we as a community have to be that support for our men as well. And it often starts within the family. Like, some of us will sit around and we'll see that the father is struggling, or may not know where to even begin because he want to spend time with his kid. Encourage that quality time and open line of communication, right? Just the positive dynamics is moms, grandparents, aunts, and uncles can model healthy respect for the father-daughter relationship and support fathers in their parenting journey. Like, we not sitting here bashing that man because he may have had whatever path he was on back then, but he's trying to do better. So we not gonna hold him to his past. We gonna look at what he's trying to do and understand that this baby need her daddy in his life, in her life, and we gonna make it happen. We gonna speak this positive affirmations over this man, and we gonna connect him with his daughter. We just gonna do the work and celebrate the father's daughters. Like, I love, just recently I heard that here in Jacksonville they actually like started a father daughter dance. I'm saying started, but it could have been something that has been going on for a while. But I just love that. I love that they are shining a light more on father daughter relationships and creating the safe space, like community organizations, churches, local groups. Like, I'm calling everybody out that can offer programs that foster father involvement, such as maybe parenting workshops, mentorships, father-daughter events. Like, we can do this everywhere, at schools, youth programs, like all of this stuff. I just don't think that it should just stop at one place. Let's just shine the light on doing more father daughter activities. And I mean, we understand it needs to be both, but tonight's topic is for my men, since June is mental health month. And then just when everybody comes together, like, come on, y'all know what they say, when two or more are gathered. I'm gonna just leave that there. But however, I really, really enjoyed my time with y'all. We have come to the end of the show, y'all, so soon. But today's today we explored how a father's love, whether present, absent, whether perfect or complicated, deeply shapes a daughter's life in ways that touch her confidence, emotional health, and relationship. So, some of the key lessons we've uncovered: a father's love is powerful and unique, influencing the self esteem, identity, and how a daughter's view for that love and trust. A father's presence builds that security and healthy emotional foundations, while absent or strained creates challenges, both also opportunities for healing and growth. Early father-daughter experiences shapes the standards, expectations, and boundaries women set in their adult relationships. Positive male role models beyond biological dads can fill those vital roles, providing love, guidance, and a healthy example. And the family and communities play an important part in supporting fathers, nurturing strong father bonds. So, no matter your story, healing, forgiveness, and self love are always possible, and they open the door to breaking the cycle and creating your own empowered narrative. And I leave you with this: the power of fatherly love and growth, no matter where you come from or what your story looks like. One thing remains true: the love of a father, whether given or missed, holds an incredible power. It shapes how we see ourselves, how we love ourselves, and how we grow. So remember, love is not just a feeling, it's a foundation. It teaches us resilience when times get hard, courage when we face the unknown, and hope when the journey feels long. Your growth is your power. Every step you take, heal, forgive, and embrace your worth is a victory, not just for you, but for generations to come. So carry your father's love with you, not as a limitation, but as a launching pad. Let it remind you that you are capable, deserving, and unstoppable. Keep shining, keep growing, keep loving boldly, because your story is a testament to the power of love's influence. And I thank you all. Thank you so, so much for joining me tonight on this special episode in the Ladies Lounge, where we explore the Daddy Girls effect, the powerful, lasting impact the father's love has on shaping women's become who we become, whether your relationship with your dad was full of warmth and guidance or a journey of healing and growth. Know that his influence plays a key role in your story. So, to all daughters out there, cherish the love, learn from the lessons, and embrace the strength that comes from your unique bond. And to my fathers, thank you for the love that you give, the support that you provide, and the foundation that you build. Please, y'all, make sure you go to the Ladies Lounge YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment. Definitely, like, we have so many episodes, y'all. And I am so, so excited to share that, y'all. I am coming up on my 1 year anniversary. I am so excited. So, y'all, we finna have like a little birthday party to celebrate. We finna do it up, and just make sure that y'all are stay tuned. I just want to personally thank you all for just from your support, just from the people that definitely pour into me when there are some times where I need it. So thank you all. Thank you to my Ladies Lounge family for working out with your girl. Listen, make sure you share your favorite moments with your daddy girl moments. Leave it in the comment if you feel comfortable, or write it down. To my fathers, I wish you a happy Father's Day. I wish you a day filled with love, warmth, abundance. Like, just, I hope it's a whole vibe for you all. And make sure y'all stay tuned, because next week we are going to dive into men's mental health with CEO Albert Shaw. So your girl will be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. And remember, in this space, we don't shrink, we shine. We don't compete, we connect. And we don't just talk, we grow. This is the Ladies Lounge, where everybody has a voice and a story has a power. Until next week, y'all, I love y'all. Y'all be safe. Enjoy yourself, fellas. And I will see you all next Wednesday at